I'm Clem Chambers. I'm going to start off with a little bit of an introduction. I thought I was going to be talking to ICO investors or people that were thinking about going into ICOs, but I see we're much more of a practitioner's audience. So I'll probably be cutting my jib accordingly to that. And if the what you see on the screen doesn't really match with what I'm saying, that's why I'm going off-piste a little bit. I was at a conference recently, and it was the Miami conference, where I bumped into Nick, and it was basically 100%, 50% ICOs. It was just Lambos and ICOs, and that was the market. So here I see it as much more practitioner-focused, much more a B2B audience rather than a B2C audience, and so I'm going to go that route. So Online Blockchain was founded in 1996 as just online, and we floated on AIM to a complete silence. The internet was going crazy in America, and everything was big there, but in the UK, we were seeing fund managers that said things like, we're getting computers next year. So online, they had no clue what that was. Internet had no clue what that was. They absolutely had no clue. So we came out at £1. We then proceeded to go to 15p a share. And then basically the market woke up. We had a little bit of a share rise, and about 50,000 private investors piled headfirst into the stock. And we went from 15p to £15. And then we marched through the hell of the dot-com crash, and we're still here. So we're kind of long-term people, and if I press one of these buttons and see if it goes, there we are. We founded ADVFN, which you may or may not have heard of, but it's an extremely large financial website community. We have, and people are so used to getting fake figures, I have to kind of reiterate this, we have between 2 and 3 million individual private investors worldwide every month go to our site. Now, this is our UK site. Our US site is called Investors Hub. And Investors Hub is the destination for the US Canadian private investor in small caps and basically tradable high-risk equities, of which there's plenty in America. And we own that space in the US. And I guess we kind of own that in the UK. There's a little bit of competition, but not a great deal. We own that in Brazil, and we own it in Italy. And because of that, we get a lot of ICO interest, and we have helped get to the market in a sense of providing a platform and voice to people doing ICOs. It's getting, I used to be able to say dozens, but now it's probably well over 100 ICOs have been advertisers with us in the last, since say October. And we take Ethereum and we take Bitcoin. So we are very close to that community, and we work very close with them to make sure they can get their message out to the market. Because if you've got a great ICO, or even a not so great ICO, you can find yourself in a vacuum, because there's lots and lots and lots of information out there. It's terribly unreliable, most of it. None of the sites are particularly reliable. They're up and down. They don't do full coverage. So ADVFN is pushing itself out into the crypto information market, leveraging off the platform of those 2 to 3 million monthly users, of which many of them are really not into crypto. They are rich old fat men like me, and they haven't got bitten by the crypto bug yet. And, I don't know about you guys, but I think most people I meet who are in crypto have had what I call an epiphany. They've had a holy cow moment. And when they have a holy cow moment, then they're going to be our customer for crypto, because they're already on the site. And we have partnered up. Let me do some more of this. Okay, there we are, 3 million in Brazil. We've even got a good footprint in Japan. Yeah, we're developing we've got a global audience, a global audio base. Now, this is me. Yeah, 82, that's when I started, and I really, really was only 3 years old at the time. There we are. That was the computer game industry taking the piss out of me when I was about 18 or 19 there. Started one of the early computer game companies. And there's lots of more embarrassing photographs like that, which are not in the presentation. We went there, and then we went there. Now, this actually brings me to an interesting point. This is where we are right now in crypto, this bit of the curve. Okay, and I think you'll see between $4,000 to $5,000 on Bitcoin relatively quickly, maybe $2,500, okay? And then it's going to go up again. But there seems to be a roadmap for this whole space, and it stretches out years, which is rather wonderful. And it's the NASDAQ stock chart. I would tell anybody who wants to know the future of this industry, go look at the NASDAQ chart from 1995 to 2017, right? Because it has made me a very large amount of money in the last few months, looking at the NASDAQ chart, going, oh, this is going to happen next. Oh, this is going to happen next. Oh, this is going to happen next. And I think this is going to continue. But the only difference between the chart, there's obviously not totally photographic, but if you look at the two, you will see, you go, holy cow, this is photographic. What's going on here? How can this be the same? Well, it's not the same because the time base is different. Yeah, for every year of the NASDAQ, it takes about a month for Bitcoin, which means there's about 18 months worth of roadmap of what's going to happen to Bitcoin if this continues to do what it's been doing for the last year or so. It is remarkable. It is relatively unbelievable. This is my specialty. I have written several books on matters of investing. I write for Forbes, etc., etc. So if you are wondering what's going to go on, that is a good roadmap, because until the moment it starts diverging, you can have a pretty good view on what's going to happen next. And it's in for a long rally. If you look at it in terms of months being years, dog years I coined at another conference. Crypto is living in dog years, highly accelerated, and that's very, very exciting. So back to ADVFN. ADVFN, which is a sister of Online Blockchain actually incubated that company in the year 2000, in a universe and a galaxy far, far away. And it started out to be a platform for the private investor to kind of level the platform between the private investor and the professional, which didn't turn out too difficult because the professional has different focuses. He has a focus on his job rather than on his returns. But we have a very strong platform that millions of people use, and we're now going hell for leather into crypto, because the crypto information market is a fascinating area. It's very bitty, it's very broken. It's degenerating right now because people are basically buying their way onto information platforms rather than the information platforms providing a platform for information in the crypto space. And as we're not quite so black-hearted as that, we will be providing a much broader offering and a much fairer offering that will cover coins and ICOs and coins that are not listed, for example. So a much broader and highly technical as well offering for people who want to know the deep information of what's going on. Because, a large proportion of the market which we go to, they don't care about what the difficulty is of a coin. They don't know what the difference is between a GPU or even what a GPU and ASIC is. They are just punting coins, which is, good luck to them. It doesn't normally end out very well if you do that. But over time, the quality of your offering is going to be important. And we are offering to the industry, if that's what it is yet, a platform to reach those users and those people that are increasingly having that holy cow moment. And that holy cow moment for me was when I switched on my computer and said, what's this crypto stuff? And I downloaded, actually, of all things, which is, I love them, nice hash, pressed the button, and it said, my computer is paying me. And I went, what? It's paying me? This can't be right. This can't be true. I've put my Coinbase hash in, and it's telling me it's going to send me $1 a day. And it's like, that's thermodynamically opposite to how the world works, right? You put the money in, and maybe you spread your breads upon the water, and it hopefully comes back tenfold. But, who wants 10 loaves of soggy bread? But here, you've got a situation where you just press a button, and passively, it's sending you money. And it's no joke, it's no con, the money's real. I know, because I turn it into fiat and I send it to my bank account sometimes. And that, for me, was my holy cow moment. This is a positive sum game. And if any of you guys are out there are mathematicians at all, you'll understand the implication of a positive sum game rather than a negative sum. Equities is a negative sum game, marginally. The industry works towards it being a negative sum game, so they get the take, they get the rake. It's not zero sum. If you play it properly, it's a positive sum, but very few things are. Commodities is straight negative sum game. That's why everybody always ends up losing money in commodities, even though they will tell you, commodities, that's a great investment. It's a negative sum game. You will always lose in the end. This is a positive sum game. That makes it a world apart, and ADVFN is the platform for those people who want to get the information to themselves to take advantage of that. Now, online, after my holy cow moment, I said, well, we've really got to go here, because this is just a monster. I always say this is a monster, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. This is just world-changing. You've heard all that spiel before. I won't bore you with it, but it is just world-changing. So we need to be in that space. And online incubates, gets into technology things. There's not been a lot of interesting stuff out there, but this is the sort of thing that gets us going. So we thought, well, what can we do? Well, we need a coin that does something, as people are finding out now. It's all right having a coin that doesn't do anything, but you really need a coin that does something. And we've got a community of 3 million people, so why not go out there and give them a coin that they can use on our community at ADVFN. So immediately, we're going to be educating our users on ADVFN, educating users of our investment, which we have a large investment in ADVFN, produce a coin that will socially validate the content on ADVFN, because a large part of that community is about members of the community insulting each other and telling each other what a bunch of dickheads they are, and how bad companies are and how wonderful companies are. It's that troll thing. And a coin, well, you know, what's it? Money talks, other things walk. So you can put your coin down and vote up and vote down content. At the moment, it's only vote up. We did put vote down, and everybody went spastic, so we put that on hold for a bit. But you can take a coin, you can make a coin, you can get it from a faucet, you can mine a coin, and then go on to our social platform, or others could take that, and probably will in due course take it, and say, I like this guy. And this guy gets most of that coin. So he actually earns money from writing good content. And the site gets some money from that too. It gets a cut of that. And if it wants to, it can put it back into a faucet and have its users, you know, grab it out of the faucet. And the users can go and mine it. The media owner can mine it. Everybody can mine it. It's on a blockchain. We are providing, as online blockchain, the technology to be able to add a coin, or in this case, the +1 coin, to your social site, and as a site owner, earn money. And as a site owner, enable your customers to earn money. And as a site owner, give the ability of the user base a editorial ship by mob or by money, and with that coin. So that is what we did. Now, we got down the line, and we went, Bitcoin's not $700 anymore. It's now thousands. Our shareholders need to know about this. And so we went to our nomad, who remained nameless, who went, oh my God, no, we're scared. No, we're scared. Oh God, no, not blockchain. No, you can't do that. Well, that's not price sensitive. Oh, that could be manipulating the market. And we said, look, not telling our shareholders in the market is the manipulation, right? Because I'm sorry, everybody's going wild for this stuff. And for us to go, oh, we're still online, we've been around for 17 years and we're not doing anything, is wrong, right? And they said, oh no, we can't possibly, So we sacked them. They'd been our nomads for 17 years, so we sacked them. And we got another one who said, oh, this is all weird and wacky, and wow, yeah, lots of people in institutions hate this stuff. They're all going to get sacked, aren't they? Oh, yeah, we like this is quite exciting. So we changed our nomad, and we changed our name, and our share price exploded. Now, we'd been there before, because when online, our share price went from 15p to £15. We do know what happens. And it's really not very comfortable for us, but we take that risk, because it would have been wrong for us to say, hey, we're not doing blockchain, we're not doing a coin, we're not doing something that's a really exciting development that might actually work with lots of other media sites. Well, no, we're going to pretend that we're not. We came out and said it, the market reacted accordingly, and here we are today. This is just the beginning. That's what I love about it. I've been through this before. I've been through several of boom-bust cycles in various different things. And this is by far the biggest and most important. Because if you take internet, which everyone would say, you can't be possibly bigger than the internet. Internet is computers plus chat, or computers plus communication if you want to go B2B on it. But it's just computers plus yabba, 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 which is very important. Everybody likes the network and all that. It's very enjoyable. But this is computers plus resources, resource allocation. Well, that is incredibly powerful. That's called computers plus politics. That's the biggest of all games, right? That's the top of the pyramid. And that's what this speaks to. And that's why so many people are so viscerally against this, because it does turn things upside down. It does actually, as opposed to everyone says, oh, well, you know, people can be really opaque with the blockchain. Actually, it turns it around. It makes people very accountable if you use it right. Because a lot of people don't want to be accountable out there. Lots of people, right? But it's just the tip of the spear. Money, crypto coins, just the tip of the spear. And obviously, it's good to be in the tip of the spear. And online blockchain is developing the infrastructure, because it's a gold rush. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about. It's a gold rush out there. And ultimately, oh yeah, there you go. That's what happened. Now, of course, we have the national newspapers remorsefully take the piss out of us, which is fine. Been there before too. And, you know, really, I mean, we hired a few weeks back, it was just announced, a founder of CompuServe, okay? CompuServe, that's the beginning of the whole online industry. He was the marketing director that coined the phrase, actually, I find it hard to believe, but we've since had to double substantiate it. He coined the term email. It was electronic mail before then. And in fact, IBM had capital E, capital M, AIL. And he's the one that came in and said, capital E, small m, AIL. Didn't put a hyphen in it, didn't take it out. Anyway, but of course at times, the Oxford English Dictionary doesn't know who did it, right? And all this stuff, because we are, as a company, the tip of the spear. We were the first and still properly the only, as in we've got a product, not a dream, AIM-listed blockchain company, okay? All the other guys weren't allowed on to AIM, had to go to our friends at Next, right? That will change. In 2 years, there will be multiple £100 million blockchain IPOs in London with probably as much technology as those ICO guys that promised to have anti-gravity machines, okay? So the days of blockchain being mainstream, the days of the dot-com boom in equities, in blockchain, is coming. And I think it's 2 years, it's going to be a long time, because fundamentally, blockchain as a technology is an existential risk to any stock exchange, unless they get on it. And the vast disruption of changing your technology from not blockchain to blockchain is an existential risk, as it is for the banks, as it is for insurance companies, as it is for all those powers that be who like to get in at 9:30 and go at 4:30, right? Like to have summer off, looking after entertaining their clients. That's going to go away with the blockchain because of the disruption it's going to cause. It's, you know, who would want that? You wouldn't. If you were in their shoes, you would say, no, please, go somewhere else. No, don't let these guys in. Because it is going to turn everything upside down. And I personally think because it is thermodynamically reversed, right? The money goes downhill, right? The world today, money goes uphill, shit goes downhill, right? With the blockchain, it's the other way around. Money goes downhill, shit goes uphill. Yeah, which is why regulators are regulators. It's they're meant to be dealing, for example, with that. Government is meant to be dealing with the shit. People in power are meant to be dealing with the shit. That's why they get paid so much. And, you know, the money actually goes up and the trouble goes down, right? Blockchain, I don't know why. I just know every time I touch it, I make money. I just have to touch something to do with crypto and I've got a pile of money. And I touch lots of things, lots of businesses in my many years in business. Normally, I touch it and it burns me, right? And you keep doing it until you find a formula that then makes you money. It's not just at random. So this money going downhill thing, this is new. The technology is, the whole set of businesses moats. This takes away so many moats, right? Anyway, you've heard all this before. I won't gibber about that. But you can see why people who have got a cushy number, which after all most people strive to get, are totally threatened by this and are pushing back as hard as they can. This is just something I did, #1 guide on Amazon for investing and how to do it properly, as opposed to how I do it stupidly. And I tell you, this is also insightful, and this is a Achilles heel of the whole crypto space, right? I write this book. It has made me a lot of money. Not the book, but actually following these rules. I wrote a crypto book recently. You talk about 7 figures of profit using the techniques in that book. You have to sell it for 49p because nobody wants to know. Yeah, what they want to do is they want to hear the rumors and they want to go, wow, it's going to the moon. They don't actually want to know anything about the underlying fundamentals of what makes something good or bad. Good company or bad company, good crypto or bad company. They really don't care. And that is an Achilles heel because a lot of investors that I would generally call by the industry Muppets go steaming in, get burned, and then come out going, mummy, 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 mummy. And, of course, that is not good news for anybody. So, oh, yeah, here it is. It's been number one, but I tell you, people aren't that interested in... I mean, how many beginners are there? There's tons. They don't want to get much training. Now, this is my investor presentation, and so I'll just crash through it because you might be interested in my take on it. So anyway, some investors are like this, and they tend to do okay, but they tend to a little bit miss the boat because they are only very, very interested. They're basically savers, right? And so in crypto, you would have to be looking for things to save in. There aren't that many coins for that. So, you know, you're hodling, you're going for super blue chips, you're buying the dip on Bitcoin, and you're just, you know, hoarding. And there is a fairly interesting hoarding going on in crypto, quite fascinating. Our users on ADVFN don't like to spend their +1 coins to upvote stuff. They want to hodl them. They really, really want to hodl them. They say it feels bad to use them. So that's probably because they are a group of savers and people that are very careful with their money, you know, hundreds of thousands of them. Yeah. The value investor, and I'm a value investor, I'm not quite as old as him. But, you know, value investing principles are, I think, very important, probably more important than crypto, than often in shares, because there is a lot of value in what's being produced and an ocean of crap, absolute ocean of crap. And if you can actually burrow through all that and pick out the good coins that will do something, that have have the things that you require them to have to be a good coin, those coins will prosper. And as we've seen, a coin that prospers can go from worth nothing to worth billions, literally overnight. Well, not quite overnight, but it might as well be in the time base of most investments. So that's where I live, and that's served me very, very well. And I cover that in my book, because I just thought, well, I might as well write this all down. Ooh, did I go too far? Oh, yeah, here you go. There's some things to look at if you're doing value investing on crypto. Trader. Now, there's a lot of money to be made in trading. I've made a fair amount on that. Old habits die hard. I think that the key to trading is, can you do it and actually sleep at night? Most people can't. I mean, I stopped trading. I was making just a ton of money, but my digestion couldn't take it anymore. I was eating packets of Renes. I mean, whole packs in the day. And I thought, you know, I don't need this money. I don't need this hassle. So I stopped doing it, which might sound ridiculous to anybody out here who could do with more money. But, you know, most people trade, lose their money. The people that trade and make money tend to stop when they have a certain pile because it's just such a miserable activity. Anyway, you need a fantastic platform, i.e. not Coinbase. Yeah. You need lots of great information. There's lots of that out there, but it's all in horrible condition, all out of date, all upside down, all difficult to read, and often wrong. You need to have practice at it, and as I say, you need to be able to not lose your stomach lining in the process. Now, the final one, and you see a lot of this, and this is a guy who's part of the small cap scene in America, and his picture came up because I typed douchebag with an orange Lambo. Okay, and up this guy popped, and he's a face, but this typifies what a lot of traders, a lot of the audience in crypto are all about. And actually, they're ridiculously young. I think some of them are too young actually to own money, but they're out there in droves, because this is the rock and roll of the millennials, okay? If you want to typify this whole movement, I know there's not many millennials here. Oh, you're all millennials, aren't you? Of course you are, sorry. You know, this is the rock and roll of the millennials, right? The rock and roll of the rock and roll generation was rock and roll. The rock and roll of the generation, my generation, was computer games, right? The rock and roll of the generation before that was the internet. This is the rock and roll of this rock and roll generation, okay? And of course, being young and full of whatever it is you're allowed to be full of when you're that young, that's where they want. They talk Lambos, they take ridiculous risks. They don't really mind when they lose their money either, which is kind of quite refreshing. And they're just into orange Lamborghinis. But that's where you kind of end up if you are going online and you're saying, oh, this is going to go to the moon, this is going to go to the moon. I'm going, oh, God, do you realize how many securities laws you are breaking, Mr. 14-year-old? Right? And it's just out there, you know, in spades. oh yes, let's ramp this. No, securities manipulation. No, don't do that. So at some point in the not too distant futures, orange Lambos are going to turn into orange jumpsuits, okay? And I have been around in the small cap world on the information side long enough to meet people with orange Lambos that have ended up in the Atlanta penitentiary. Okay, because the Americans, they just let everybody run wild, and when there's enough people to all arrest at once, they just go around and they arrest everybody, and you are guilty. Even if it was someone else's name that you thought you're guilty, you're going to go to jail. Doesn't matter what you did, you're going to go to jail. Okay, and people out there, and I think a lot of people in the ICO world who are on the other side, these guys, and we've all seen them, right? They are definitely going to go there. Right, and it's just painful to watch this process. And, well, these are actually pretty painful people to watch, period. Right? But it is going to be a extremely interesting 3 to 5 years. The other thing about the feds, and we do a lot of work with them, and we do a lot of work with the FCA. We go to court for them quite a lot in the UK. We're constantly supplying subpoena information to even Homeland Security. I mean, often it's SEC, but even Homeland Security. And it's a very, 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 very real thing. And these guys, they don't care. They don't care. They've got too much Colombian white powder up their nose. And if they're doing it now, they might get a knock on the door in 7 or 8 years. And then they might be in a legal process for another 10. And then they might be in jail for another 5. So, if you've got any friends like that, you need to tell them to stop. And because, they will stop and it will be stopped. And that will be a massive value add for us, right? Because this is just sewage and there's too much of it and it's sploshing around everywhere and giving everybody a bad name and ruining lots of people's business models and screwing things up. The regulators are moving in, and thank goodness for that. Because we do need regulation. Because the incumbents are too regulated, frankly, and they've got a lot of leverage because of that, and we do need to be able to match that. Maybe not quite as high, but we do need to match the core standards of ethics and practices of a proper financial industry. And that's coming, and that's good, and I will actually chuckle. I'll be chuckling a lot, because a lot of these guys go in here. Yeah. Now, there is a lot of money to be made guessing where these people are going to do it next. Okay? Because at the moment, it's incredibly amateurish. And so you'll get a stock that will go, bang, crash. But it's going to do it again. Because the same guy's going to wash and repeat, right? I mean, oh, the wallet on the exchange has been broken. Oh, up goes the price, right? If you understand the technicals, you can see where these guys are going to be doing their thing. And actually, you can go against them. That's what I've been doing. There's some guy pumping a small coin, and I dumped so much coin on his arse, he had to stop. I enjoyed that. So anyway, unfortunately, this is a lot of participants in the retail space. It's very, very sad. In fact, because the market has been so strong, they've done very, very well. So their lack of skills, their lack of experience, their lack of knowledge, their lack of pretty much everything, even money, actually, because some of them never started with much money and have just piled it up crypto on crypto. Yeah, these guys, over time, that's going to go away because professionals move in, and if you've got an edge in a financial market, you take all. Okay, so they are a user base which is not long. As we've seen a lot of ICOs, most ICOs are now failing, because they had their moment in the sun where anybody will buy anything. And, all these guys have had a few and then gone, well, I put $1,000 in and now I've got $10. Oh, what happened there? Well, it's not regulated. Oh, you shouldn't regulate this, but I've lost all my money. They have learnt by experience, which is the anarchist's point of view on these things. Leave it alone, people learn by experience. But generally they don't. Generation, wave after wave of people will come. In equities, they all learned actually the wrong lesson in 2000, and they never came back. Old broker friend of mine said, it'll be another generation before the markets go up again, because the investor base will not return for another generation. It'll be the next generation that wasn't burnt that will fill in the slots to make the market rally again in a generation. Well, actually, they're here, and they're in crypto. They're not in equities. They haven't come back to equities. They've come to crypto. So again, it's another reason why the regulators need to, and are stepping forward, to tamp down the predators. And where there are resources, there are predators. So anyway, that's a few points. Yeah. These guys, they make a lot when it's going vertical and then lose it all when it goes the other way. Yeah. And then the final guy is a gambler. And this is a casino, you see them. They sit around the table all night. Any money they have, they lose. And then often they steal. Most people going to jail for white-collar crime in America are gambling addicts. And these guys, they just need to find something to gamble money away on, and they're in crypto land, unfortunately. Yeah, these are a few points about coins that I look for. I don't like any coin that's not mineable, I will not touch. And I think if I was going to leave anybody with that one thought, it would be that. If you can't mine it, don't touch it. Yeah, if you can't mine it, there's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and he doesn't have your best interests at heart. Okay, companies with real engineers, with a brand, good technical analysis. And is the market going up? I'm completely out of crypto. I will not get back in until it's under $5,000. And I will get in at $2,500 unless that magic chart I told you about changes. Yeah, there's no point being long in anything when the market's going down. A bear market is not what TV tells you, which is when it's falling 20%. A bear market is when it is falling, when the trend is falling. A bull market is when the trend is rising. Never buy anything in a bear market. And that's it. Thank you very much.